channel. My name is Lynn, a cosplayer from Seattle, Washington, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about virtual cosplay competitions. Specifically because I finally did my very first cosplay competition, which was very much unplanned. And because it was during 2020, during this crazy quarantine time, it ended up being a virtual competition. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of feedback about what I thought about this specific competition, maybe some things you guys might not necessarily know about them, requirement-wise, how the judging works, all of that stuff. And also to just give you kind of like the perspective of someone that's been to a lot of in-person contests and then switching to virtual, maybe something you might want to know about it. So stick around for this video. I hope you guys enjoy it and let me know if you have questions and I will try to answer as many as possible. Okay, so to get this video started, I just want to answer some very basic questions for you guys who may not have seen any of my other videos or don't know much about me as a cosplayer. So the first thing I want to tell you guys is the fact that I am not a professional cosplayer. I'm not a massive influencer with like 1,000 followers and an unlimited budget and a film crew following me around. I'm a very small cosplayer, and I've been doing cosplay for a very long time. I started when I was about 15 years old, hand sewing my very first cosplay costume tour to SoccerCon 2007, I think. But cosplay for me is more of like a side hobby. It's something I have fun doing. It's something that just brings enjoyment to my life and helps me kind of further my creative skills and kind of pushes me to try doing new things. I've also met quite a few friends going to conventions, so I have a lot of really fun memories around that. But I am a very non-competitive person and I have never done a cosplay contest before this. So that's something I want you guys to understand. I am going into this virtual cosplay competition video with no prior experience of doing a competition in person. However, I will say I have watched many people's vlogs online of them doing competitions, their reviews of them. I've been to many in-person competitions as just like a viewer in the audience and watching people walk the stage and watching the judges talk about stuff. So I kind of had an idea of what to expect going into this, but there were so many things that I wish I had been told in advance because it would have totally changed my decision to do a contest, and also it would have changed what I was doing while I was creating this costume. So as we go through this video, just keep that in mind. If you guys are professionals or have done many contests in the past, our opinions might differ, but that's okay. We don't have to agree on everything, and my experience also might be different than you guys depending on the size of the contest you do and who's judging and who's coordinating it. So let's get into this video and we're going to talk about all the good details. So to be quite honest, this contest for me was not something that was planned. It was not something I had even thought remotely about doing. Over the summer of 2020, and you guys will see this in my prior videos, I created Elderwood Ari from League of Legends because I really liked the costume. I really wanted a costume, but I couldn't find any online that really matched what I was looking for. And so I went the route of, well, I'm at home all the time now because of quarantine. I have nothing to do. Why not make it? And so I spent quite a bit of money, time, energy, and oh my gosh, so many brain cells learning new skills that I didn't have before in order to create that costume. And when I reached the end of August 2020, when the costume was completed, I saw an ad online for New York City Comic Con, which is a convention I've always wanted to go to, but because it's on the opposite side of the US and it costs a lot of money to, get a hotel, get a car, all that, I just thought, one day I'll go to it, but had not gone to it yet. So when I saw the ad online that said they were going virtual and they were going to be holding their cosplay contest virtually online, I got really excited because I realized I would be able to submit into a contest that I would never be able to do in the past. So this is one pro about doing a virtual cosplay contest, is it doesn't cost anything. You don't have to pay for your hotel stay, you don't have to pay for that plane ticket or train ticket or a rental car or anything. It's totally free if your costume is already made. I'm gonna go into more of the technical aspect of requirements because that can also change price-wise. But for the most part, you can enter into any virtual competition anywhere in the world. There's very few requirements of having to live close by or anything like that. So when I saw the advertisement, I decided to just hop on the train and submit my photos to be included in this contest. So I had already taken Elderwood Aubrey photos in the park to celebrate finishing my costume. Thank God for my amazing spouse who took me out there and took some really incredible shots. So all they required to start off the competition was a front and back picture of your costume, a reference picture, and then a brief description of how you created the costume and kind of what type of cosplayer you are. Like, are you a beginner? Are you intermediate? Are you an expert? Do you work in special effect work? That sort of thing. So they kind of knew where to compare you to and the rest of the contest people. So I submitted my pictures. I did a whole paragraph where I talked about me and never doing contests before, that I had worked briefly and done other costumes, but this was definitely the hardest costume I'd ever done because it definitely was I had to learn so much doing this. I had never worked with foam before. I had never worked with hand painting and Plastidip. I had to learn so much about glue types and adhesive types. I've done a lot of sewing, but I have definitely not done a lot of creation, crafting type cosplay. So I made that very, very clear in my entry as well. And then I went about my life and totally forgot I entered into it because I thought there's no way in hell I'm gonna make it into this competition. So that is how I got started with this competition. And much to my surprise, about a week or 2 weeks later, I got an email back from the coordinator saying, congratulations, you made it into the finals, you're gonna be competing. And as soon as I got that email, I jumped up and down, I screamed so much, I freaked out. And then I decided to keep it a secret from my friends. So I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit more about that. I had to get some water. My mouth gets so dry when I tell stories. By the end of these videos, I'm like my tongue gets really dry too. And I bought this giant water bottle on Amazon. I'm so glad I got it because it has forced me to drink way more water than I normally do. So if you guys want a $20 very large water bottle, buy a Hydro Flask. $20, way cheaper, and look how big it is. So, okay, we're gonna get back into this story time now. So when I was accepted into the cosplay competition, I received an email from the coordinator talking about the next level of requirements that I was gonna have to do in order to get myself to be an actual competitor in this competition. When I saw the list of requirements, this is when I realized I was a little bit in over my head. And I'm gonna make it very, very clear for you guys that doing a virtual cosplay competition, you can't just have really, really nice photos or do a quick 30-second of you just walking around. They want people who have some editing and technical skills already, because the only way that the judges see your costume is how you show them, in what lighting you show them, in what context you show them, and how well you can talk about your costume. So this is the thing that kind of sucks and is very different than doing an in-person competition, is that virtual, it's literally you are deciding what you're going to tell them and what you're going to show them. So if you leave something out and you leave them wondering about it, that kind of puts you at a disadvantage. In an in-person competition, you have what's called pre-judging, where the day before the competition, you will go and actually get to shake the judge's hand and meet them and talk to them and tell them about your life story as a cosplayer and a little bit of a background about you. And also it gives them a chance to walk around you, lift up your seams, ask you questions about how you created something. And if they're curious or they're a little confused about something, it gives you a chance to clarify it during that meeting. Virtual competitions, there is no meeting. So the submission of your content and the judges seeing your content is totally separate. The judges don't reach out to you with questions. They don't talk to you live. It's nothing like that. So in my head, I thought the competition was going to be me with my camera set up or my laptop set up, walking in front of a live audience. And I was very much kind of disappointed that it was actually going to be me editing a ton of video, because I am not a good video editor and I had to learn how to use DaVinci, which is a really awesome video editing tool, but it's hard. It is not for the faint of heart to suddenly go from being a technical noob to having to edit video and do voiceover for it. So the 3 requirements that New York City Comic Con had us do, the first thing was a PDF workbook, which was just 3 pages. Think of it as kind of like a book report for your costume and giving you a chance to show pictures to the judges of the process of like you creating it, picking out materials, things laid out, how you put things together. So what I did is I included a lot of pictures of myself in the costume, like out in the park near the creek, so it looked really nice. It looked like very foresty and fairy-like. And then I included a lot of pictures of me actually like in my mask, like with my little Dremel, like actually working on stuff, having things spread out. I included a lot of like just stupid jokes because I thought it was kind of funny. And so I commented a lot about like how much Starbucks I drank when I was completing this costume, with like pictures of coffee cups everywhere and like stuff laid out all over my living room. And it also gave me a really good chance to show them how many layers that skirt and top had, because just visually, you wouldn't necessarily realize that the skirt had 28 separate pieces that were totally different sizes. And that's like a lot of little handwork to do. So we have the PDF workbook, which is number 1. The second thing is an actual video of you kind of walking the judges through your costume. And what they wanted to see is us like walking in it, moving in it, really like being the character in it. And then also a lot of videos showing them like how the costume went on us, like how does it connect? Are there magnets? Are there snaps? Are there zippers? Where are they? Are they hidden? Just kind of things you wouldn't necessarily see in the costume that like the cosplayer might be hiding. So I talked about how the tail had a magnet in it with like a battery pack. So I could actually fully detach it and just take it off like if I needed to use the bathroom. I showed them all the zippers that I had in the arm bracers and leg bracers that made them really easy to slide on and off. I showed them so much like how the skirt was attached literally by really, really strong magnets, and so I could get it off super quick because it was really rigid. So if you needed to like sit down or suddenly like have to use the bathroom and you needed to get it off, there's not like enclosures that make it difficult. So I really tried to be as detailed as possible in this video. And not only did I have to do all of this video, but I had to do voiceover for it. So the way I did this is my spouse actually filmed me walking in kind of an empty warehouse area that I had access to, very luckily, because it was perfect. It had blank walls and very clear lighting. And then I had to take all the clips of me walking and showing off different parts of my costume, and I had to learn how to do a voiceover, which I will say I have a Microsoft Surface tablet, and luckily the microphone on there is super awesome because I was able to get like perfect voiceover. And then okay, so those are the first 2 things. So we have the PDF workbook, we have the 5-minute video walking the judges through, and then we have a third requirement, which is our showcase video. So this is during the live competition. They're going to be showing pre-recorded video of us being our characters. And so I had to do a 30-second video of me pretty much just like jumping around and being Elderwood Aubrey. So I chose this chance to kind of do a lot of really like, cool moves and kind of showing off the movement of the costume a little bit better. I had my tail all lit up, so I included that. And I just made it look really fun. I take that back. It wasn't 30 seconds, it was 30 seconds to 1 minute. And I think I did like 55 seconds of me walking around. I really wanted it to look good because I knew the crowd was going to see it. Okay, so let's get into the competition day and what happened and kind of why I was disappointed with how the competition was handled. So all the requirements are in and it's pretty much just waiting up until the day of the competition. I had my computer out, I was logged into YouTube. It was a live video, so you pretty much go to the channel and just wait for it to happen. So this is when I want to talk about what I thought was not really okay for New York City Comic Con to do with competitors. So when we received the email that we were finalists in the competition, they made it very clear that we needed to create showcase videos and everything because we were going to be shown on the live video. And unfortunately, there were quite a few cosplayers that did not have their showcase videos shown. So pretty much, if your showcase video isn't shown, you immediately know you did not place at all. And they won't talk about your costume, they won't discuss it at all. It's just like, thanks for playing, you didn't win, bye. So this is where I get a little bit upset because, and it's not for the reasons you may think, but it's mostly because they asked us to do a lot of extra work knowing that we were not actually going to be applicable into the finals of the competition, which I think is kind of BS. Your judges will know from looking at the pictures or looking at the preliminary type stuff if people are going to make it to the finals or not. So if you're not going to make it to the finals, they might say, hey, we're going to post your picture, but sorry you didn't make it in. Or they might say, hey, there's another level until you can be a finalist, so here are your next requirements, and we'll let you know if you made it to be a finalist. There was none of that. It was just we were told we were finalists and we were going to be in the showcase video, and then many people got to actually watching the live competition only to be so disappointed because there were pictures shown at the start saying, you know, thank you for entering into the competition, here's some shout outs, but you didn't actually make it in. And I saw my picture probably 10th. So there was probably about 20 something pictures. Like, I was really shocked. I don't know what happened there. My guess is that they accepted too many entries without calculating the amount of time that would be needed for a showcase video and judging. And then when they realized they were over their time limit, they just chose like the handful of people or whatever that were more beginners and kind of tossed theirs out, which I was very, very disappointed about that. I think it could have been handled way better. It could have been organized way better. And also, like, don't make me do extra work if I'm not even gonna be a part of the showcase video. Like, it's fine if I don't place, cool, but like, don't make me do all that hard work, because editing that 1 minute clip of me walking took so much time. It literally took hours of my time to get the editing and the clip put together just right. So that is something that I do want to let you guys know. Depending on the competition, the instructions might not be clear. They might be telling you that you are a finalist and you are competing when really they haven't truly decided yet, and you might get booted off at the last second. An in-person competition, this will never happen because you're not gonna get up to walk on stage and have them be like, wait, oh, sorry, no. Actually, you're not a finalist, so can you please walk down the stairs and leave? That will never happen. If you go to a competition and you are accepted in to walk on the stage, you're gonna walk on the stage. They make that very, very clear. So that is something I think needs to be improved upon. So let's talk a little bit about what are my thoughts about just like virtual competitions in general. Are they worth it? Should you do more virtual and less in person once the world starts going back to normal? Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys like my totally 100% honest opinion, and this is something that I have brought up in previous videos that makes me a little bit more unique than the big cosplayers out there, is that I have no sponsors, I am not linked to any companies or affiliated with any brands, so I'm allowed to say whatever I want. I can badmouth products, I can badmouth contests, I can badmouth whatever I think needs to be badmouthed, which I don't normally do, but you get the gist. I can be very honest with my words and I don't have to sugarcoat things. So, did I enjoy the contest? Yes. I thought it was fun, it pushed my skills, it forced me to have to learn video editing and voiceover work, two things that I'm terrified of. It forced me to walk in front of a camera and also show off like my body, like my stomach and stuff, which I almost never do in like real life at all. So yes, I enjoyed it because it pushed me. It forced me to be a better cosplayer, and it also forced me to get rid of some of the fears that I had like in the back of my brain that prevented me from doing contests in the past. Like, I feel like this has paved the way to get me more comfortable, and my actually New Year's goal for next year is to walk on stage and do like a live contest at a convention once they're back and functioning. Would I do another contest virtually? No, I wouldn't. No matter how good the prizes are, no matter how easy it seems, I just don't think it was really worth it. I spent 2 weeks video editing and going through tons and tons of filming clips, downloading digital content, learning how to do so much on my computer, which is really useful, but it kind of takes the fun out of doing the cosplay. And I would rather put that time and effort into actually sewing and creating and gluing than I would be into like editing digital content. Kind of took a little bit of the sweetness out of my mouth of that costume. And what do I think of virtual cosplay competitions in general? I think that they are a really good temporary fix for conventions not really happening this year and everything being out of whack. Like, I think it gives people something to do, and people who are really, really big into competing, it gives them a way to still do that. However, I don't think that they are a good replacement for in-person competitions. I think in-person competitions, a big portion of it is the social aspect, being able to connect backstage with your fellow competitors, being able to meet those judges that you maybe look up to or idolize and have like a true human connection with them. Virtual cosplay contests will never replace the real thing. Unfortunately, they're a good temporary fix, but there's just too much amazing stuff about doing an in-person competition. With the biggest being that you get to walk on a big stage in front of lots of people with like cool music playing. Let's see, like who doesn't want to do that? It's super fun. So, I just want to make it clear, you guys, my experience may be different than yours, and you might do other costume competitions that you find to be really fun and super easy. And if you do, that's awesome. But the one that I did maybe was a little too big, a little too disorganized, just didn't end up kind of working out well in the end. And that's just how I feel about it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope I was able to answer some of your questions about doing a virtual competition in a very honest way. And also not to like discourage you from doing them, but just so you have realistic expectations of what it's going to be like to do them, what's going to be required of you, and how things may necessarily not go according to plan, or requirements may be different than you're expecting. So, as I come to the closure of this video, I just want to let you guys know that us other cosplayers are out here. We might not be loud, we might be quietly working on cosplay projects while watching Christmas movies at home with our cats, ruining everything as normal. But we are still out here, we're just waiting for the next conventions to happen. So here's to hoping 2021 will be much different and much brighter and happier for many, many people. And if you guys do have questions about this topic, doing virtual competitions, please leave it below and I will definitely make sure to answer. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon.